What's up, everybody? Today I'm going to do a stream here for you all. The title of this video is Markets on a Knife's Edge. We're going to talk about all of that. I'm going to give you a structured approach today about how I look at the markets on a daily basis and what I think is important for you to do. So we're going to have a layered approach to this video where we'll start off by looking at the DXY, the Dixie, the dollar index, what the dollar is doing. That's just crucially important to ever know if you're good in a long position is to look at the dollar, because the dollar trades inversely correlated with all the markets like crypto markets and the regular stocks. So if the dollar is pumping, then you're basically bearish in the markets. And when the dollar is coming down a bit and when you're retracing, that means that you're more likely to be good in long setups. So we'll start off with looking at the dollar. Then we'll take a look at the SPY. We'll continue with Bitcoin, and then we'll take a quick look at NEO, which is a stock that I personally hold. I got in earlier, and I'll give you my kind of like approach to that stock and my trading plan. So first things first, on the Dixie here, on the DXY, I'm on the monthly time frame, and the first thing that you just immediately see is that we're super bullish for the Dixie because we broke the previous high, which comes right there. Our previous high here, we broke that and we just shot up. So in my understanding and how I look at this is we broke this high. So I'll take my Fibonacci retracement levels and I'll go to my previous swing low here. And I'll look at that 1618 level at 112.555 for the Dixie here. So for me personally, that's the area where I think that the DXY is headed. So that's still a 2.5% move from where we're at right now. That's still some upside for the Dixie here. I'm still seeing no reasons to become bearish on this particular chart here. It just looks insanely bullish. So that's 2.5% up. If that means that we're going to go there sooner rather than later, and then that's the question. Will we go there immediately, or is it going to take some time here, which we'll speak about in a minute? Then that would mean more downside for regular markets, be it crypto markets or the regular stocks. So downside is something that is very likely to happen in markets, and I've always said it over the past few weeks, we're in a bear market because the dollar is simply that bullish. So in the monthly time frame, immediately I say that we're in a target to about 112.555. That's kind of my impulsive break target there, and then we'll take it to a lower time frame because this is the daily time frame here for the Dixie. It's just a massive uptrend, parabolic uptrend with higher highs and higher lows, right? So we are basically, in my understanding, trading to this area that I've marked on the chart. And then the same thing here on the daily time frame. I'll just take my fib levels from the previous high to the current low. And that gives me the 1272 and the 1618 targets here. So the 1272 comes at 110.59, which is exactly where we're finding a rejection at for the Dixie here. So this is where basically the point that I want to make is that I think that the Dixie is very bullish, but I do think that we're seeing some rejection at this 1272 level. And I think that we're going to come in for a higher level of support here and probably have a little bit of a retracement, which if a scenario like that plays out where we are retracing a little bit for the Dixie here and potentially we're coming back to this higher level of support at the 50 EMA, then that would mean that the regular markets can absolutely have another week of pump action. So that's also why I'm currently not short on anything across any markets. I don't trust shorts because I think that potentially over the next few days, the Dixie might see a retracement here before ultimately going higher. So that would mean a little bit of more upside for stocks and crypto before ultimately we nuke it and we basically pump the Dixie up a little bit higher here. So that's what I think is likely to happen, is that we'll retrace for the Dixie here over the next few days. And then ultimately we'll have a top here at 112 and then we'll continue up higher probably. Because again, the Dixie, as long as the Dixie is not showing significant weakness, there is really no reason to be any kind of optimistic or over euphoric in any market. As long as the Dixie and the dollar is that strong, you're just any potential rally to the upside on anything to me is a way to get out basically, and any retracement on the Dixie is a way to do that. So that is my understanding of the Dixie. We'll just go and take it to the SPY right now, which is to me the second thing that I like to look at after Looking at the dollar, I like to just look at the general index here. And so I think that we are retracing to these lows that we've had on those June lows, and we're basically seeing that the 618 retracement level to this low is getting front run a little bit. So that would indeed say that we're seeing some buyers step in the market. We're combining that with the knowledge that the Dixie is retracing a little bit. So that gives me more confidence that we can see some more green here before ultimately we go down further, which is when the Dixie will get up higher. So I'm just looking at this. I think that either this is going to hold as support. Maybe we'll have a double bottom here at the 618 level, which for me is 387.31. I think that's a very important level to hold. I think that if we drop below 387.31, really, and we close a lot of daily candles below that, I think that you're at least going to retest the previous swing low here. And if that doesn't hold, it's going to be a reversal wave target for all the stocks, which will correlate with Bitcoin going lower to 16K and to 14.5K. So the markets are truly at the knife's edge here because exactly of this reason. We are holding this 618 here, and it's always a level with a lot of support. But if that doesn't hold, and if we'll see a nuke, and if we see the Dixie pump a little bit higher, then people are going to be in disbelief. So I'm here to tell you that if you're in profitable positions, I wouldn't expect to see new highs quite quickly here. Like, a lot needs to happen before you're really truly bullish in the markets again is the message here. So that is what the general index tells me. Is I'm looking at the level of 387.31 here. And if that doesn't hold, I think that shorts are going to be massively in favor, not only on stock and options, but also in the crypto markets. So that's what I have for the Dixie. That's what I have for the general index. Of course, I always want to take a look at Bitcoin here. So for Bitcoin, I'll spend a little bit more time here on the daily time frame. We came down. Obviously, we were retracing to this low that we've been having. So we're basically retracing back to 17 point. And I'm on the Binance chart here, so the levels are a little bit different, but it's more or less the same. On Binance, about 17.6K, we're retracing back to that level. We lost the 618 retracement here, so this is something that I showed you on the SPY just a minute ago, that we were above that. So that's a bullish statement from the SPY right now. It's a bullish statement to hold the 618 retracement to the previous low from the current high, right? And if you lose it, it's a bearish statement. So whatever you do there, if you know how to work with FIBs, that 618 level gives you a massive edge in the market, because if you hold it and you see it is being front run and you really see it held as support, it's bullish. If you lose it right here, we were already kind of bearish on Bitcoin and the markets when we saw that we lost 20,168.6, and we very much struggled to get daily candle closes above that 618 level. Now, if you lose that level, you come down, you retest it as resistance, and you fail to get above it multiple attempts here, you know what's going to happen. You are going to basically sweep these lows. So that's exactly what Bitcoin has done here. It's basically taken out all the stop losses of the people that went long here in this massive uptrend, and that had stop losses they were still hiding there under these wick lows here. So that's exactly why we're seeing such a big green candle. That's the reaction from all the stop losses getting triggered there. But ultimately, looking at Bitcoin, there's not too many reasons to be bullish on this, right? And if you're not bullish on Bitcoin, I'm also not bullish on Ethereum. I don't think that ETH is going to do its all on its own. I think that people have a misunderstanding. It's not because Ethereum is right now stronger than Bitcoin, but Bitcoin is still the market mover. Like, everything revolves around Bitcoin. Everything is backed by Bitcoin. This is the main crypto chart to look at. Like, the SPY would be for stocks, obviously. So I see a downtrend here for Bitcoin, and I just think that it's very likely. I've always said it in this uptrend. I always said, like, these lows are weak lows, These lows are very illiquid lows, and that's usually not how a bottom is formed. Usually also Bitcoin, if it sets a bottom, if you go back in history on Bitcoin, it retests its bottoms. Like an exception to that was the COVID one, but all the other times it basically retraces back to the bottom to at least get the stop losses out of the people that went long here and have stop losses under 17.6K. So for Bitcoin, I think that the safer thing is to wait until you break really above 20.2K for looking at longs, because that 618 level again is really the key. That 20.2K, if you break above that, is the point where you'll see a cascade of people starting to cover for shorts massively. And that's where you get short squeeze situations to, then you will squeeze back to this, to basically this resistance level here. That's also a very important level. That's 21.3 here for me. So if we get back above 20.2 is when you can really start to look at longs and start to try, because then it's going to be easy to cover your stop loss with a stop loss at just 20K. A lot of people are going to look to do that. So definitely a level to look for. But I think that if we take it lower time frame here, what we're doing here is just, we've been trading in this consolidation. So we've had this low for Bitcoin at 19.5. We've lost that low, and we're simply coming back to that low, that previous support, as resistance. So it's a bearish thing here. I cannot become very bullish here. Also, I'm using fibs in these fibs from the previous high to the current low. And if you look where we reject here, exactly at that 618 level at 19,424.8, you had one wick there, you had a second wick there. Like, to me, it's bearish, right? Unless you break above this back in this range, then we'll also look at long. So there's two long setups that I'm looking for. And the first one is a break back in this range, in this, like, if you come back into this block of price action above 19.5K, you can look for a retest of 19.5K to long that to 20K. That is definitely something that you can do, but you would need to wait for 19.5K to be broken. Because right now you're just trapped under the 618 retracement, you're under this 50 EMA, you're basically looking very, very, very bearish. So if I take it to a 1 hour time frame here, it's all about breaking this 19.4 and then 19.5. That is where, if you break it and then maybe you come to 19.6, you fall back to 19.5K, that's where you long and you set your stop loss at around 19.3, and then you long to 20K again, and you leave some runners for if you really see a short squeeze. Also shorting, I mean, there's something to say to short this, but people who short here and who enter shorts here, it's also, they're not really super comfortable, right? They're not completely sure, because it probably also doesn't take that much to pump back in this range. And the reason why I say that is because of the way that you fell out of that range, right? That was a massive 3% candle in just an hour here. It's not very liquid, right? There's not too much resistance here. It won't probably take a lot to at least get back out these lows here. So if you short there, it's very difficult to basically be safe. So we really need to be patient here and see if we can break 19.5K. And then if you're looking at more confirmation above 20.2K. But short term here, once I see that we kind of lose probably 19.3, if we kind of lose this area here again for shorts, so specifically for shorts, I would be looking at this kind of price action. I would basically look at the support here at about 19.174.3. If you start to lose that and close an hourly candle below that, then it's also very likely that you won't see new highs here again. And then you can go short already there, put a stop loss there, and just write it back to the previous swing low. So one thing also, if we assume that this is the high here for Bitcoin, then the next leg down will take you to specifically 18,245 and 17,930. So those are already also shorting targets that we'll have in the Discord. So that's what I have for Bitcoin. And then probably the last thing that we can do is take a quick look at NEO, because I've personally held NEO already since like $33. I've really not done a good job at looking into NEO previously and getting out there. But what I can do is basically go to a larger term time frame here, like the monthly time frame for NEO. And there's some interesting things here that I'm also looking at. So what I was seeing here is this big green candle here on the monthly time frame. If we zoom in on that, you just see a big sell-off from there. So right now, that's a very interesting area to potentially find support at for NEO. So that's in the zone between 7.85 and 9.57 is where I'm probably looking to place some long orders. Also, I'm combining that with fib retracement levels from this previous low to this high. The 618 level there also lines up perfectly at 791. So I'm also potentially thinking that if we do see, and this is specifically also a Chinese stock, there's more things that can go wrong with stuff like this than with like American stocks. So if we see another leg down here, some bad Chinese Asia down only market sessions, then we'll see some more downside for NEO, and then I'm probably going to look to pick some up at around $8. Because I think that we're long-term bullish on this. This was kind of an insane pump, and it's pretty normal to retrace back to way lower levels here. So that's kind of the last thing that I have for you. Is there's a specific stock that I've been looking for is NEO. I've held that since 33 bucks. I'm not going to sell it. I'm only looking to basically make my position bigger. If this goes to zero, then so be it. Of course, you never invest more money than you can afford to lose into any particular trade. That only makes sense, but that's some basic advice for you to basically end it here. I hope that could help, and that gives some insight as to what I'm looking for, and I'll see you in the Discord. So check it out there. Bye-bye.